Today we're talking about the 4 best options for long-term food storage. Right now is the time to be thinking about stocking up food and preserving it for a long period of time. With all the food shortages, whether you're prepping for this or not, this is something that you need to be thinking about. Right now, storing food long-term is going to give you a peace of mind because there's all kinds of craziness going on. There's food shortages everywhere. A lot of people are seeing shelves go empty. Inflation, hyperinflation right now. The prices are only going up. So to be able to store food long term, secure those prices right now for up to 5 to 25 years is a smart move. Another thing to think about is the supply chain issues. The supply chain issues are getting worse and worse. So getting the equipment that you need right now to preserve your food long term is super important. Time is running out. Welcome back, everybody. Special thank you to the subs. You guys are great. Love your comments. And if you guys are new here and like weekly updates, whether it has to do with economics or how-to videos, be sure to hit that notification bell. Let's jump into this one. The time to stock up is now, and this is our 4 best options for long-term food storage. And with that, number 4 is our top pick. Let's start off with number 1. Option number 1 is something that everyone's familiar with. A lot of people already have it. A lot of people have been doing it for many years, and that's a freezer. Just a basic freezer. With freshness in mind, storing food in a freezer can be good for up to 1 to 2 years. Learning how to freeze foods properly with plastic wrap and freezer paper or vacuum sealing can extend your long-term freezer storage. Like I said, this is an option to give you up to 2 years long-term food storage. Problem is space. Not a lot of people have a lot of extra freezer space. The good thing about this is a small chest freezer only costs around $250. And oftentimes you can find used freezers for much less on local listings and even at yard sales. And the other good thing about a small chest freezer is they don't take a lot of power. In case you lose power, to power this small little chest freezer, you could easily do with a smaller solar generator. So that's the first one on the list for long-term food storage, is just simply freezing food. And the next one on the list is canning, using a pressure canner. It could be like the one we have, the All-American pressure canner, or it could be like the very popular Presto canner. Prices will vary depending on what kind of canner you want, what size you want, but typically you'll be able to find them between $100 and $400. Now, we've been currently canning like mad. We've got videos of canning chicken, we've got videos of canning hamburger, we've even got videos of canning butter. It's amazing what you can do with a pressure canner, and once you get your first one out of the way, it is addicting. And the process is fairly simple, and the things that you need are fairly basic. The shelf life of pressure canning typically is recommended 1 to 5 years, but done correctly and stored correctly, people reported of having freshness up to 15 years. Now, with the high temperatures of canning, the nutrients does get zapped, sometimes around 50%. But what does fully retain is the carbohydrates, the protein, and the fats. This option is a wonderful option and one of our favorites as well. So if this is your option, be sure to check out our videos. We've got a lot of how-to videos on canning various stuff. The next one on the list is a dehydrator. With nutrient retention around 60%, the process is dehydrating foods through low heat and steady airflow. Dehydrating removes enough moisture from the food through evaporation to inhibit the growth of bacteria, yeast, and mold. Dehydrating is one of the oldest methods of food preservation and has been used effectively since the dawn of civilization. The nice thing about dehydrating is the price point. You can get into dehydrating foods for a fairly low price. Like, for example, the COSORI at $160 is a premium choice for a dehydrator. Or you can pay as little as $65 for a Nesco FD 75 amp Snack Master Pro. It is right up there with the top picks just because of the nutrient retention and the price point. Super easy to get into. Now, the last option is by far our number 1 pick. It's a process that you can preserve your food perfectly with very little effort, easily creating a home food supply that is tastier, easier, healthier, and more diverse than any of these other options. Now, before we talk about the elephant in the room and some money-saving options and even a way to get a free one, let me talk about what this thing does. As I said before, this is our number 1 option for long-term food storage for a lot of reasons. It offers the easiest solution as far as how much effort you have to put out It's got the longest lasting preservation time. Freeze drying food will give you a no refrigeration shelf life of 25 years or more. It looks and tastes better than any other freeze dryer food on the market. You can preserve nearly anything. It's a great tool to preserve food long term for emergency prepping. If you grow a garden or find a great deal on produce, say you take in a huge harvest on your garden, which often happens with us. We have way more produce than we could actually use in the time we've got before it would go bad. With a freeze dryer, you can harness all of your produce that you do in your garden and make it shelf stable for 25 years. So there's no lost fruits and vegetables in your garden when you're gardening. One of my favorites, it's great for camping and hunting and lightweight backpacking. Here's another one that people don't think about that it's amazing for is you can freeze dry dog food for 25 years. How about pet food preservation for years to come? Locking in these prices right now and not worrying about a food shortage with dog food. What can you freeze dry? Nearly everything. Over 100 items, whether it's meat, fish, dairy products, fruits, veggies, herbs and spices, and even candy. Okay, about that elephant in the room. It's a lot pricier than all the other options. But is it out of the question? That depends on how much you value food preservation for emergencies and super long-term food preservation. Food shortages are expected to get worse and worse. You look at the science, you look at the graphs, all signs point in the direction of everything getting worse. Inflation, hyperinflation. So maybe we got stuff, but is it going to be triple, quadruple the price in a matter of a year? The question is, how important is this to you? They have data that this machine pays for itself in a matter of months. As you can see, I have one. The way I like to look at it is a level of importance. Say your transmission goes out in your car. Do you go buy a bicycle? Or do you find a way to replace the transmission? You find a way to pay for the things that are important. Someone used a reference one time, many people are into their TVs. They got these big fancy TVs. If your TV went out, how many days would it take before you had a new TV up on the wall? You find a way to pay for it. That's why this company offers you a payment plan. They want people to have this amazing machine. If this is an option that interests you, another way to save some money is right now they have an amazing Mother's Day special going on. And they're throwing in like an $800 Premier pump and free shipping. And if that's not enough, I'll leave a link in the description. Go to their site and at least put in for their free freeze dryer. They have drawings for free freeze dryers. At least give it a shot at getting a free one. Now, I've known a lot of families and groups of folks that put in and go in on this machine, as one machine could support a group of people really well, cutting the price down into a quarter of the price that you would have to pay going in on it with a group. Anyway, I'll leave links in the description below so you guys can go check any of these options out. Again, these are our top 4 options for long-term food storage. I highly recommend you guys working on at least one of them. Like I always say, do what you can and never stop learning. Don't forget to let me know down in the comments which option you're using, which options you'd like to use and why. Share some great info with the community, and we'll see you guys on the next one.